Hello there! I'm back with another video, and hopefully this is going to be the first in a long series of videos, or at least coming back to posting at least somewhat regularly on this channel, because I've missed it and now I'm finally on summer break. I'm on summer break, but I've got a job, so I don't know, let's just fingers crossed that I post regularly. This video is actually going to be the first in a series of 5 videos, so for certain we're good for 5 weeks, so about a month. So I've got a month to figure out what else to do in terms of videos to keep up a weekly posting schedules. Keep your fingers crossed for me. But to talk a little bit about this series, it's a series sort of depicting myself growing up. So there's 5 illustrations, each one is of myself at a different age. We're starting off with the young age, so in this one I'm estimating that 5 years old, so it's basically what I looked throughout my entire early childhood of what I remember. And yeah, I just sort of remember being 5 and being very carefree. I used to love eating fruits and vegetables. Watermelons were my dream come true. I would steal little carrots and bell peppers that my mum would be chopping. I was a very picky eater, but I liked real fresh food. My mum still dressed me all the time, so this was the one period in my life, besides another period that we're going to get to in a following video, but I used to wear dresses fairly often, and they were like cute little frilly dresses, princess dresses. I also had my grandmother sewing me a lot of little outfits. I remember I had a Princess Belle and a Jasmine costume as well. And I was a tiny little kid with freckles and a pointy nose and stuff like that. Very happy, very carefree. I didn't need my glasses yet. They'll show up eventually in these videos. But yeah, that's sort of what I remember about being 5. Older brother was a big part of my life at that point. He's 5 years older than me, so he was my hero at age 5. By the time we get to the next drawing, I'll have entered the I hate everything stage, so that's clearly not going to last long. But no, yeah, this illustration I think was the most challenging to think of how to pose, because I wanted it to be happy and carefree, but at the same time I kind of wanted it to be realistic. But in the end I just said, oh, she's jumping in the air, whatever. The hair was a little bit of a challenge at first, because I had fairly short, like chin length hair as a kid, and it was parted in the middle, but then I kind of tried to make it do this thing that my hair does now, where it goes up and then it swoops. But my hair didn't do that when I was a kid, so there's this pause right here because I was scrolling through my phone trying to see if I could find some photos of me as a kid, and there I found one, and I figured out, oh, so I tucked it behind my ears, and then the hair poofed, because I still had quite voluminous hair. So that's a trend that's going to continue in the next one, of the way that actually the shape of my hair hasn't really changed that much, of how it swoops like that. But after I got the reference, and don't let anyone ever tell you that getting reference is a bad idea, because it's a really good idea to get reference. After I got reference, the hair turned out a lot better. It looked really nice. This dress, I don't have a photo of this dress that I'm drawing on myself, but I have like vague recollections of like poofy shoulders and little buttons and then flaring out. When I showed this drawing to my mother, which is the person who bought all the dresses and who was, you know, an adult at the time, she said that she never stuck me in a dress that was that short, that they were all like below the knee. And I'm like, well, she's jumping, it's flaring, like, stop ruining my art, mother. But no, she's right, I never would have worn, well, my mother never would have put me in a dress that short, basically. But it's cute, I think, it's princessy. And yeah, here we're going to start in the colouring method that I'm going to be using throughout this series. So I'm grabbing my chalk brush, but I'm removing its opacity control, because usually how the brush works is with the pen pressure of my tablet. The lighter I press, the less opaque it is, but I turned that off so that I could do the base colours with the chalk brush. And I did this because I kind of wanted a little bit of the texture of the chalk brush to show along the edges. And I think once you remove the sketch, because all of this ends up being fairly lineless, like I add lines in a couple places, for example outlining the nose and the mouth and stuff like that, but besides that I don't have any actual line art outlining anything, so it really lets the kind of effect around the outsides of the colours show through because it's not outlined. And because of the lack of an outline, actually, I had a bit of trouble with things like hands and the feet. I don't think in this one it was as hard. I don't know, maybe we'll see, we'll get to it. But in other ones it was a real challenge to colour in hands and feet without having the outlines. And the shading is also going to be fairly simple. Just two-tone, but with the chalk brush again, with texture and stuff like that. So, I don't know, I'm actually quite fond of this style. It's not that time consuming, it's not that thought intensive, but it has a lot of charm to it, I think. And I don't remember what this pause was for. I must have been checking my phone or something. The one thing that does bother me is that because you have the outlines showing to see where you're supposed to be colouring, the edges don't end up being as clean as you might want them, but you want to have the texture. You can't use like a wand or a lasso selection, so you kind of have to just clean up your lines afterwards. But yeah, I'm actually really pleased with the way that this overall style looks. And I'm definitely going to be using it again after this series is over. That thumb gave me a lot of trouble. Another thing that gave me a lot of trouble was picking the colour for this dress. Like the easiest thing to do was to pick purple, because that's always been my favourite colour. But I don't actually remember this dress being purple. I remember it being more like white or something like that, maybe like a pale yellow. Don't mind the Spotify. But yeah, here I'm starting off with the two-tone shading. I was a little bit kind of nervous about it at this point because I wasn't sure how it was going to look with the outlines still there, but as soon as I hid the outlines, I ended up being like really pleased with the effect. Like, I think this hair out of all the series, 5-year-old me's hair is my favourite. And then here I am doing like the only line art that you're going to see in these, which is essentially doing the details in the face. So like separating fingers from each other, separating the chin from the face, and then toes. All of the me's except for one are barefoot because I really hate, I call it self-proclaimed foot claustrophobia. But yeah, essentially is I just don't like socks or shoes and stuff like that, so if I have a choice I'll be barefoot. I'm currently barefoot right now. I'm really pleased with the way that I ended up doing the eyes for all of these, and I was kind of winging it in this first one, but the first one went so well that I decided to continue. So what I did was I kind of outlined the pupil and in white, and then I locked the alpha so that I couldn't paint outside of that, shaded it, then did the pupil, the iris, the white of the eye, I'm gonna forget about that. So, and then after doing that with 3 colours, like a base colour, a darker colour and a lighter colour, I grabbed the hair colour to do like the eyelashes and stuff. And yeah, then some highlights, and I think it came out really nice. And there's the final result of the hair. I'm fairly sure I'm really happy with it. The skin, I feel like I've learned so much about painting skin that doesn't translate as well to this kind of a style. But I don't know, I think when I'm overanalyzing it, I'm not happy with it. But then when I zoom out, it looks fine. So yeah, it's not that blended out. It's not that, there's not as much hue shifting anywhere around there. There's no ambient occlusion, there's no reflected light, there's none of that. But I did add some of the red pigment in like the fingertips, the cheeks, the elbows, the knees, the ear, that kind of thing, which gave it a little extra cuteness. And for the dress, I wasn't quite sure how I wanted to shade the dress, but I figured out that the purple was a little bit too intense, so I decided to leave the base colour that I picked as the shadow colour and add whites to it and have that serve as like the painting bit. And then instead of outlining it like I did the skin with the darker pink, I outlined it with the white to show the line art, and I only grabbed the darker purple a little bit just to do the bits that are behind the legs, which I found worked really well. And yeah, it was just a little bit more clean up. Pretty soon you're going to see me just do a gradient in the background and then wrap it up. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, leave a comment what you think. Keep an eye out for the rest of the videos. I'm going to be posting them every Friday around 1 PM say in Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next week.